Hiya babes, quick content warning and air. The footage for Pet the Pup at the party is glitched quite badly. It's only a short clip, but if you are sensitive to any sort of flickering images, you might want to just avoid that section. I'll pop a little timestamp down below just to show you which bit to avoid. Ta-da! Hello friends. So, I plan on doing something a little bit different today, but given all the horrors that have happened in the last week, it didn't seem right to just carry on as normal without addressing it. My heart goes out to the family of George Floyd, to everyone that is protesting. I understand why you are, but please stay safe. This horrible virus isn't going anywhere, and we also know that it affects BAME people more than any other. So please stay safe. Take your masks, Monokuma related or not. Wear gloves. Stay to social distancing as much as you can. And Black Lives Matter. Now, I have no marketable skills, as my mother keeps telling me. But what I can give you is playing video games. So I spotted that Itch.io are doing this bundle for racial justice and equality. And they're basically selling a bundle of games, 742 of them, and you have to give them anything over $5. Pay what you want, but the minimum is $5. They are splitting the proceeds 50-50 between the NAACP Legal Defence and Educational Fund and the Community Bail Fund to help out all the brave protesters. So I'll leave a link to this bundle below. I've got it. What we do is just run through a couple that they've got today. I've picked a handful. I'm not going to play 742 of them. But please support them. They're obviously doing great work. It's a great fundraiser. Some of these games you will have seen before. Some of them hopefully not. I picked a handful from like the first 7 pages. It's a great cause. And you can play some video games while you do it. Let's go. So this one is called Pom Simulator. It's all played through your browser. It's all business as usual. I drop to my hands and knees solidly, fast enough that someone might not think it was intentional. My back heaves once, twice, almost as if I'm trying to retch. And with every roller coaster dip and rise of my shoulders, my spine begins to break. My bones are changing in a way that don't care for logic, going liquid, yet keeping their form. Yet sounding out with a thick crunch with every new angle my joints take. The soles of my feet pull away from the ground as my fingers and toes elongate, casually shifting from plantigrade to digitigrade, as if it were the most natural thing on earth. My skull is turning long and narrow, my tongue suddenly feeling cramped in my mouth with all the new teeth. Distantly, there is something like pain, I guess. I have no time for it. This is so weird. I have disappeared. I am teeth and vice-gripped jaws, and a body of hot liquid tendon and muscle. I am Cerberus. 18 hours earlier. Oh, you got stabbed? I got stabbed. Punched too, I add, jabbing a finger at the swollen, misshapen mass bulging around my right eye. It was funny, really, because I was starting to feel pretty proud of myself for doing a good job dodging the knife, and then he just got me off guard with his other hand. And then he got me in the shoulder with the knife anyways. Just goes to show me, I guess. But hey, nothing hurt but my pride, and my stab wound, and my eye. Does it look bad? I sure look bad, because I'm basically running at about 60% vision right now. First aid. Calliope? First aid, Calliope Blitz, finally snapping into action. Come inside, I have a kit in the kitchen. Aw, but it's so nice out tonight. I laugh under my breath at my own joke and she drags me through the door. As we enter the kitchen, her ponytail suddenly jerks to life. She didn't have a ponytail in that picture, did she? Unless I'm going insane. Like the arm of an octopus, it stretches, stretches, stretches to grab a small white box I'd never noticed sat on top of the refrigerator. How are you feeling right now, she says. The first aid kit moves between her hair and her hand in a movement so natural it almost made you wonder why all humans didn't work like that. pain-wise, I settled gingerly into a chair. Been better. 1 to 10. Before I can think of a good joke for that, Gallopy opens the kit and sets it on the table. Stepping close to me, she suddenly pulls my jacket from my shoulders. Hey, hey, easy, Miss Stephanos. And despite knowing better, all the adrenaline still buzzing around in my veins tells me to make my voice go all low and goofy. Not on the first date. Smooth. My name is Calliope, she responds without skipping a beat. And then she skips a beat. This isn't our first. Diego, is your head okay? Are you having trouble remembering things? I sigh, trying to ignore my guts wilting at the look of panic in her eyes. No, Calliope, I'm just joking. Oh. Behind her, her ponytail pulls a brown bottle out of the kit. She dips her head as she unzips my modified tank. Probably as thankful as I am that I wore the one with the diagonal zipper today. This is what? If I didn't know her better, it'd be easy to miss the embarrassment around her silence. Funny, she says after a moment. If your memory really was okay, I'd expect you to remember that I usually prefer my men bleeding less. Fair. Well, it's not like I'm going fucking anywhere. What are you confused about? All of it! What's eccentric? Well, officially that's short for eccentricardia. It's a fairly uncommon condition which basically translates to 3 things. 1. Your heart moves to the right side of your body as you mature. 2. Your eyes have a tendency to shift in colour, typically towards yellow. And 3. You acquire supernatural powers that allow you to fight a dangerous alien mushroom from another dimension. This game isn't what I thought it was. That game is called Pom Simulator, and the cover art for it was a picture of a little cartoon Pomeranian. I'll probably go back to that later and find out what on earth that's all about. Aliens? Women with magical hair? Bayonetta's canon in that universe? Let's try Catlateral damage, I think. Ah. Hello. Hi. See, he heard cats and he wouldn't put up with it. Well, Catlateral damage crashed my Mac twice. So it looks like we're not playing that one. I'm quite looking forward to this one because this looks insane. And as we all know, my favourite video game genre is insane. Dominique Pomplemousse and Dominique Pomplemousse in Combinatorial Explosion. Dominique Pomplemousse and Dominique Pomplemousse in Combinatorial Explosion is not suitable for all audiences. Before we begin, we'll need to answer a few questions in order to determine whether this game is in fact for you. Ready? Is this like when games in the 80s used to ask you adult questions to make sure you were of age, but then when you play them in modern times, they're such vague, random trivia questions that nobody could possibly know them without Googling? I read about it somewhere, it sounded intriguing. I played the first Dominique Pomplemousse game and I enjoyed it. I haven't, but if this is as good as it looks, I might buy the first one. Squinky coerced me into it. I don't know, I either saw it on sale or got it in a random bundle. That'll be that one. What do you love doing most in video games? Shooting things in the face, having my finely honed skills challenged, exploring a story. I don't actually like video games. I'm here for the story, baby. How do you feel about sequels? Bring them on. I love a sprawling epic that takes forever to finish. Some of them are okay, but most are terrible. They should be as faithful as possible to the original. There's no point to them except to make corporations more money. How do I feel about sequels? No, most of them aren't terrible. There are some great sequels. Curse of Monkey Island was the first Monkey Island I played. And it's still my favourite. Shh. Don't anger the masses, Jen. How do you feel about Duchamp's fountain? It amuses and delights me. It's not real art. Art is supposed to demonstrate beauty and technical skill. It's actually the work of Baroness Elsa von Freytag-Loringhoven. I have no idea what you're talking about. I think if this is the fountain I think it is, and it probably isn't because I am not clever, as my mum keeps telling me. Most things amuse and delight me. That's all I can say. How many genders exist in the human species? 2, 3, 63, NAN. I don't know what NAN means. At least 63. Do you believe women are obligated to shave their legs? Yes, no. Wait, people actually answer yes to this question. What are legs? Black Lives Matter. How appropriate. Black Lives Matter. Yes, always. Excuse me, all lives matter. Are you calling me a racist? Because name calling is worse than actual racism, you know. Always. Do you have any questions for me? What even is the point of this quiz? Why are manhole covers round? Are you single? Pete and repeat went for a boat ride. Pete fell in. Who was left? Are you single? Based on your answers, we've determined that you will either love this game or hate it. If it turns out you hate it or are indifferent towards it, we're not sure which is worse. We apologise in advance, but hopefully you'll like some of it. Can't hurt to give it a try. This is so weird. It's already funny. I already like it. Go on, stop motion girl. Oh. Was not expecting a musical.
I chose wrong. Tried to get a job and failed. Got laid off, ain't it crappy? If I made a difference.
This is like Avenue Q if it was claymation.
Maybe I'd have cause to rejoice, but I chose wrong. Hey, wait, but aren't you? No, it can't be. You're the Dominique who decided to take Prudence Van Dunlap on the job offer, and you're the Dominique who stuck to their guns and tried to do the right thing. Fat load of good that did me.
This is difficult without having played the first one. So Prudence just got away with murder. What was it like working for Van Dung? What was it like working for Van Dung Records? Wait, my voice sounds like that? Important question is, which one of us is canon? Let's go through.
The important question is, which one of us is canon? Because only one of us can be, right? I guess you're right. Honestly, though, I can't tell if it's me or you. Yeah, I mean, I'd vote in favor of whoever's living the better life as being canon, but I'm not sure which one of us that is. Exactly. We've both turned out just as downtrodden as we were before.
I have to play this first game.
We should have known.
Although I do now know that someone gets away with murder.
We really shouldn't have messed with multiple endings. This will be our downfall. How could we have known? Well, since we don't know which one of us is canon, I guess we're going to have to do some detective work to figure it out, huh? Right, because we're detectives, and that's just what we do. The question is, where do we even start? I guess maybe pick a direction and start walking? Sure, sounds like as good an idea as any.
Go west, there are people there. Christ. Do you know what? Let's leave it at Sexy Apple. Yeah, I'm totally into that. I might seek out the first one first before I finish it, because it strikes me that you're losing quite a lot of information. Okay, Mortician's Tale, September 14th, 10:15 a.m. Ooh, you're cute. This is a very cute art style. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet you. My name's Matthew, and I'm mainly going to be the man who delivers the bodies to you and helps with some of the more heavy lifting. Ever hear that joke about a hearse driver? I'll tell it to you when you come by in a bit. Looking forward to working together. I think you'll enjoy working here. Amy is a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. She wouldn't have hired you otherwise. Cheers and good luck. Hello, Charlie. Well, you're new here, so it's probably best I explain where everything is. In your office preparation room, you'll find your cremation station, the cremulator station, embalming station, and obviously, since you're reading this email, your desk and computer area. I know you have experience working with these stations, but please let me know if you find any questions. I guess my subject lines to you should start being professional now. Now that we are business professionals. I can't wait to get your reply so I can see your fancy new email signature. I love that you were able to land this gig straight after graduating. It sounds super cool. I didn't even know mom and pop funeral homes were a thing until now. Guess it's just not something I really think about much. I should look more into this, learn more about your world and industry, because as I said, you are now a very serious professional. Speaking of being a professional, my museum gig is amazing. I can't believe somebody paid me to move to London, and not London, Ontario, serial killer capital of Canada, to work in a museum. Like, take that, everyone who said I couldn't get a job with an art history degree. I'll tell you more about it when we Skype. My stories require you to see my face and let you hear my excellent British accent impersonation. Also, I signed you up for a funerals monthly newsletter. Consider it your graduation gift. I love you. I'm super proud of you, gift. Love you, love you, love you. Oh. Today's tasks. Let's have a look. Matthew should have dropped off your first body. He said the body was really friendly. Your first body is Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who died suddenly of a heart attack. The family has asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming or body preparation is necessary. The family seems a little bit more united than previous families we've dealt with. Strange how grief affects people differently. Perhaps having more time to say goodbye makes things a bit easier, if that's possible. That being said, although you will not be embalming Mrs. Garcia, I do think it's important to take the time to clean her body. No one is going to see her body, but I like to encourage my funeral directors to do this out of respect for the deceased and their loved ones. You'll find Mrs. Garcia in the prep room. Ah, they show you, look, the stuff from the family. She doesn't want to be embalmed because she didn't want her death to have any negative impact on the environment. How nice. And I can reply. There she is. Hello, Mrs. Garcia. I would ask how you're doing, but she's not much of a talker. This is the prep room where you prepare bodies for burials and viewings. Because the family's requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming, you are just going to clean the body. Oh, okay. Sponge. Sorry, Mrs. Garcia. That's it, you're done. Mrs. Garcia will be sent to Mike, who'll take care of dressing and putting her in the casket. It's time to go to Mrs. Garcia's funeral. You're responsible for taking care of the deceased body, but it's also important you pay your respects to their loved ones. Follow the arrow to head to the funeral parlour. At least I haven't got to walk far. That's the most important thing. Oh. How did Mike get her from there to here without me seeing? Yeah, I heard the family specifically said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. Embalming weirds me out. Do those chemicals leach into the ground? It seems strange to be using a chemical that is known to cause cancer and putting it into the ground like that. Dark. Or into the sewer. That's what they must do with the leftover formaldehyde, right? Just pour it down the drain? At least embalming guarantees you won't be buried alive. It might kill you, though. Stop it. Don't make me laugh right now. Hi, buddy. Mommy, I'm hungry. When can we go? Poor kid. I hate wearing pantyhose. My legs are so itchy, but it's always so cold in these funeral homes. I think I might actually miss those sweaters she used to knit for me now. No. I'm going to go back to that one. It strikes me as it strikes me as being like death positive. We're weirdly secretive about funeral processes, and I think it's just people don't like to think about them, and wild to see something like that just in a actual game. Let's try Pet the Pup, because my pup has gone wandering off somewhere. The summary of this alone made me laugh. The idea that you're in a party and you're not having a good time and you just want to find the dog. Yes, I agree. Pet the pup at the party. 10 out of 10 would pet again. Out of my way! Where's the dog? I hear a dog. Oh. Not enjoying these controls, not gonna lie. Where are you, puppy? Oh, there's a man on a toilet. Give me a hot cold. Why has this house got so many toilets? And why are you recording me? Come to me. Oh, that way. Are you a puppy in disguise? Oh, I can pet you though. This is the most stressful game I've ever played. Where's the dog? 9 seconds. 9 seconds to find a puppy. There's more dog food. Puppy! I didn't pet a pup! You pet 0 pups, explored 12 rooms and talked to 2 people at the party. Then you went home and lit candles and had a bubble bath, because heck yeah, it wasn't a huge deal. I thought they were going to say I went home and had a bubble bath because I was sad I didn't pet any puppies. Which I would have been. Should we have one quick look at blind men? Because I'm intrigued by blind men. If it's rubbish, we'll just cut it. When I was 7, I was sent to live with my uncle. I had just lost my parents to a car accident. The same one that left the right side of my face disfigured. He did his best to make me feel welcome, but it wasn't enough. Bullied by my peers and ignored by people that were supposed to help me, I didn't fit in anywhere, and I spent most of my childhood thinking it was somehow all my fault. One day after I came home crying, my uncle pulled me aside and said to me, pulled you aside or he pulled you? Never mind. People are fools, Keegan. Blinded by their own stupidity, they seek to destroy what they don't understand. I've just noticed his disfigured face is an eye patch. That's it. But people like you and me, we're different. We're better. Never forget that. At that moment it all became clear. I finally understood what I had to do. I'd follow my uncle's footsteps and I'd show them. So what do you think? I'm only missing the essay section of the application. I don't know why the League even asks for one. There's nothing particularly evil about good grammar. I laughed nervously at my own bad attempt at making a joke. The League of Evil is the highest authority when it comes to criminal activity around the world. They can make or destroy a supervillain's career with a single word, and even those that don't answer to them know better than to oppose them. Membership is for life, and vacancies are rare and far and in between. Even getting the opportunity to apply is difficult enough. I'm perfectly confident in my ability to deliver a flawless application, of course, but one can never be too sure. Which is exactly how I ended up asking one of my uncle's henchmen for his opinion on my application. It's about passion. I don't know why he's London. Common criminals are a dime a dozen, but being a supervillain requires true dedication. He claps his hands together. He's almost as enthusiastic as I am about the idea of me getting to join the League, which makes the fact that I have no idea of what his name is rather embarrassing. It's not that I don't care, it's just that after a while henchmen just sort of blend in together. During training, we were shown a video of the boss's speech at the Allied Nations. It was wonderful. Half the room was in tears by the end of it. It's the one about how powerful countries abuse the vote system of the organisation to legitimise their actions, isn't it? I've seen it too. It's really good. It's not for nothing that Human Resources makes all the new recruits watch it. In just a few words, you can really feel what the boss is about. What makes him different from all the other supervillains out there? You don't need to worry so much. Right from the heart, you'll do fine. Besides, you're Sphinx's nephew. He runs in a family. He said so himself, didn't he? I groan. Ugh, don't even start. It's bad enough that people think I only got to the opportunity because of him in the first place. The last thing I want is for it to actually be true. Getting into the League by my own merits is the only way I'll ever be taken seriously as a villain, by them and by everyone else. Not to mention, he has this weird idea about how spending all my time down here is not good for me. All parents like that, it's totally fine. And it's not something recent either. Because intelligence agencies were always looking for my uncle, we never stayed too long in one place. As a result, I was homeschooled for most of my life. But ever since I finished my high school studies 3 years ago, he's been trying to get me to enroll in college. An actual college with other normal people. I turn around and see my uncle walking through the door. He has never been a particularly expressive man, but he looks even more serious than usual. "Good morning, boss!" The henchman salutes him, and my uncle dispenses him with a nod. As he leaves, he silently mouths a "good luck" in my direction. Traitor! You're early. There was an explosion in the lab. I didn't think we could get posher than the other guy, but here we go. There's toxic material everywhere, and since it will take the cleanup crew a few hours to get rid of it, I told everyone to go home for the day. I look down and notice his clothes are stained with some kind of black substance. Instinctively, I take a step back. He looks down as well, shakes his head and waves his hand in a dismissive gesture. This is just oil. I was working on some of my old prototypes when I was informed of the explosion. Anything I can help with, boss? No, I want to clear up some space in the storage room. I'll get rid of whatever I can't get in working condition. And how many times do I have to tell you that you don't need to call me that? Sorry, I spend so much time with the henchman, it rubs off after a while. Among other things. Uncle, really, that was years ago, and it only happened once. Hello! Just got juicy. As far as I know, only because he got eaten by a shark before it could happen again. Yes. The time the feeding cage malfunctioned and our perfectly trained sharks decided to have him for lunch instead. What an unfortunate coincidence. The corner of his lips quirks in an amused smile. I barely resist the urge to roll my eyes. Have you had time to go through the pamphlets? The entrance exams begin next month, so you have to submit your papers as soon as possible. I spoke with Madam Mantis. Madam Mantium. She said that if you're interested in moving to America, she'd be happy to help with anything you need. Ever since she retired, she's amassed quite a bit of contacts in the Board of Education. In fact, if you get everything else ready for next Friday, she'll personally write you a recommendation letter. I've met her a couple of times. She was a proper villain, the kind of woman that never does things out of the kindness of her heart, meaning that he either asked her for a favour or she owed him one. Either way, I bet he's only telling me this so I feel pressured into enrolling. I'm glad you brought it up, because I've been meaning to talk to you about that. You have? What does that mean you've chosen a college already, then? Not exactly. Not exactly? Keegan, cut to the chase. What if I didn't want to go to college? He stares at me in silence for what feels like an eternity. Finally, he closes his eyes and begins to rub his temples. We've been over this before. You need to do something with your life. You do a good job around here, but you can't keep running around with the henchmen forever. Wait, just hear me out. The reason I don't want to go to college is because I want to become a supervillain, just like you. In fact, I've already contacted the League. They think I've got a lot of potential, Uncle. They're just waiting for me to submit my full application. When did you even have the time to do that? Save it. It's not important. Helping me out and being an actual supervillain are two completely different things. The League's application process is infamously hard for a reason, Keegan. Many people have died trying to impress the council. Why do you even want to be one? Uncle, please. I've gone through the curriculum of every major college in the world, several times, actually. You are the one that always says people just don't know what's best for themselves. Well, I do. Besides, I've been helping you out practically my whole life. I'm not making an uninformed decision. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. Are you sure about this? I've never been more sure about anything. Have you decided how you're going to call yourself? Do you have the base of operations? What about a plan? How are you going to pay for everything? Do you remember the weapons dealer that sold you the parts you were missing for the death ray? Turns out he also handles mercenary contracts, and he comes highly recommended in that regard. He said that he would lend me a couple of his bases and some people if I went over a couple of blueprints his scientists were working on. I know it's not ideal, but it would only be for a day or two. After I'm accepted into the League, I'll have enough resources to get my own. He crosses his arms and there's another moment of silence. If you are serious about this, I won't be the one to stop you, but you're going to do this properly. Call the weapons dealer and tell him that you won't be needing his services anymore. You'll use my lair and my men. We'll draft a contract, and if anybody asks, you rented them. Thank you, Uncle. I promise I won't disappoint you. Of course you won't. Now, come, tell me more about your plan. Wow, okay, so that's really interesting. What we are going to end on, because I've played this one before and it's reliable, we're going to end on something funny, I think, because we could all do with a cheering up. And it's Dr. Langeskov. And then, mate, I gotta bounce because I've got to go and catch a KK Slider concert before he goes, innit? So, Dr. Langeskov, the tiger and the terribly cursed emeralds, a whirlwind heist. This is so ridiculous. I've played this game so many times, and every time I still love it. If you haven't signed up to Crow's newsletter, you absolutely should. Because they don't email you very often, but when they do, it's absolutely batshit insane. I've never known anyone to use newsletters in the way that they do. Now, the first time I played this, I sat here for a couple of minutes before realising I could go, whoop, it's just a picture. It's clever. It's Simon Amstel. Hello, Simon Amstel. Ignore this. We are not being paid half enough.
1 minute.
Crows.
Position, please. 1 second, please. Hold your position.
Hello, Simon Amstel. How are you? Are you good?
Okay,
Glad to hear it. This is so weird. I love games that are like a little bit meta.
Hi.
I say little bit, this is like full meta.
This is a bit awkward. I think it's probably better if we're just really honest with each other. It's a bit awkward. The thing is, the game you've just downloaded, somebody is playing it right now. You can't. I'm really sorry. Yeah, this is quite inconvenient. I don't know why this keeps happening. It's really quite organised. You should come inside. I'll explain. Just through here.
Do 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 do.
Possible to insert you.
Don't bring food into wildlife preparation. We have had enough.
But I think
Strike.
I know what to do. I'm gonna try and call publicity and liaisons, and we should be able to take you to the green room. All right? If you just wait here, then yeah, we'll be able to get you in. All right.
Be right back.
Let me just find the number here. Okay. It's ringing. Somebody will pick up. We're okay.
You're ringing me, you jerk.
It's ringing. Don't worry.
Hello.
Oh, they hung up. Okay, I'm going to try that again. So sorry. Okay. Sorry, I know we've both got better things to be doing. Okay. Oh, I know what's going on. We've got something of a strike sort of situation emerging. Yeah,
A situation.
Actually, you wouldn't mind doing me a favour, would you? Come through here. I could really use your help.
Is that Dota? I might be some time.
The thing is, our entire weather department and half the wildlife crew is just up to the left before we could even...
Our hope is a boat and it's sinking.
Super simple. It's mostly buttons. You like buttons, right? And you'll be able to...
Love buttons.
As soon as whoever's in there at the moment is finished. Promise. Your help?
Okay.
Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, this way.
Wow.
Yeah, the lighting department's right through here.
Rehearsal schedule. Too small.
Could we make
Yes.
it? Right.
Simon, shush.
First, could you bring up the lights? Thank you so much.
You know what I'm doing,
There
mate?
it goes. Little lights blinking on in the windows of the mansion, up past the ornamental ponds. Pretty magical, really.
It is magical.
Now we need to attack them with the tiger. Heist game. The player's playing a big heist. I don't want to spoil it for you, but the tiger's very important. It's in the title. You don't have to be alarmed. It's not a real jungle. just a game. Right, this is all, it's so safe. We'd usually have someone else do this, but they started striking right after 1 o'clock. Well, that's not, I shouldn't have. Just pull the lever and let's say, introduce the tiger to the level. Perfect, that went perfectly. There should be a red button nearby. We'll just let the recovery crew know that the tiger's ready to pick it. It's the button, okay, press it again. Recovery crew on them. I'm worried they might have joined the picking of once the union or been eaten by a tiger.
Hate when that happens.
Weather control then. The door's just over there. Oh, it hasn't been easy. During our second performance, a pipe burst in here and flooded the whole garden level. And it got stuck on the roof of the summer house. Alright, okay, the script calls for a storm. Let's make it rain. It's the red valve. Gently. No, too much. Okay, we're good. There's a button below the fan that sorts out the thunder and lightning. Did you do the lightning? Oh. It might be wired up front. I'm sorry. That really gets now I think about it, it might have been saved there. Oh no! There it is! There it goes! You've got to picture the building lit up by these big flashes.
Gotta picture it. I'm picturing it.
The set's massive. Oh! This is really important. Behind this door is the closest the player ever passes backstage. They'll be right behind a wall. I don't know what the wall's made of, but I do know that it's phenomenally cheap. So, we're very quiet.
Phenomenally cheap.
Just down the steps. Yeah, that's good. That's the mansion in there. Really clever players sometimes drop the chandelier on a guard. I think, yeah, this one found the patrol plan and changed it up. So all the guards are walking around the lake, which is a pretty maverick move, to be honest. Here's what we need to do. The player's going to come down the corridor and call the lift. Once the doors open and they get inside, they're going to press the down button. When that happens, all you have to do is pull the lever on this side. This lift was always supposed to power itself, obviously. This is just a hangover from rehearsals that nobody got round to replacing. Besides, it's fine. We've got plenty of time. And actually, no, wait, here he comes. Shh, out, eyes front. Eyes front.
Eyes front.
Wait for it. Ready? What are they doing?
What are they doing? What are they doing?
Why haven't they pressed the button? Did they hear us?
They might have heard you, you noisy git.
Oh, thank God.
Boom.
No idea what happened there.
Job well done.
Can't have heard. I hope they didn't hear us. Probably didn't hear us. At least they're on their way now. Actually, they're going to be very busy with the vault. You could start playing in the grounds. We just need to prep some pyrotechnics for the escape sequence and then you're good to go. There's a lift to the pyro workshop up the stairs. If we could just hurry along.
When you say up the stairs, do you mean up the stairs?
You're not into lifts. That's okay, I can understand.
I've played this game multiple times and I still get lost.
But we really should keep moving. It's not an unpleasant lift. Really. It's a good lift. Oh my God. Are you okay? Do you still have your ankles? The correct orientation? Okay, you're okay?
I think so.
That's great. I'm so sorry about that. This is the weather room, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
It is the weather room.
Listen, since we can't reach the lift to Pyro, the only way back into the game is through a department called High Concept Miscellaneous Interactions.
I've got it with you.
There's usually a lot of training involved, but I'll talk you through it. You'll be fine. We'll be fine. You brace yourself. Welcome to Miscellaneous Interactions. This is the department that controls a lot of things. Locked and unlocked doors, interior lights, smoke machines, telephone calls, actor cues, laser lights, vault guards, tranquilizer dart strength, that kind of thing. But it's all just done with numbers. I don't know why. And usually the operator's got this big, usually they know what they're doing. But I've got a manual here. I think we'll get right. In order to get started, you're going to want to press the number 4. Just go right ahead, the number 4. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. That's fine.
Warning?
I think that's normal. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think
Is it a good warning?
5, 7, 2, 1, 2, 1. Ah. Okay. So what we did there, it turns out, was the wrong thing. Could you press 9 and then 4 and then 1? It's alright, there's a page in the manual about it. Oh, I think you should probably get that. Listen, I know it's tempting to ignore problems that you've caused, but this is really the worst time for that. Just come on, pick up the phone.
You say that, but the lag meant that you couldn't tell which one was ringing.
That could have been very important. Why did you? It's alright. Okay, I found the right instructions. Alright, I need you to press the number 9. Alright. Right?
Yeah, 9 is permanently on.
1, 4. Wait, no! Hit start to cancel that. And then 2. 6. Just ignore that. That's fine. Right. 7, 2, left. 1, 4. Oh Christ! Please pick up the phone, please, and talk to them this time. How is this not making you incredibly anxious? Pick up the phone, please pick up. Oh come on, again? Do you just not know how to?
Not the old school ones. Were they rotary?
2, 5, 9. Oh, I guess
So it's quite a short game, but in Steam at least, there's a whole bunch of achievements you can do, like collecting all the coins and things like that. Things you didn't even see in that because it's so like minute. But yeah, it's superb stuff. Crows are excellent. Love them. I think we've more than experimented with what's on offer. There's only another 737 games to go. So I'll put a link to the itch.io bundle below this in the description. There was only 10 days left on it when I recorded this morning. So get yourself on it. Support Black Lives Matter. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!